Hello, hello, hello. This is Felix, and I am making this video to share the current state of Neo because it has been quite a while since my last update. I had a bit of a issues with the people that I was working with to develop this app. So this video is gonna serve as both an update as well as an introduction, because I like to do things together. I don't like to do double work. So this video is going to sit in both Neo sales page or slash landing page, as well as the update for the beta tester community. So I'm going to be doing both an introduction and the update. Now, first of all, there's going to be quite a number of items. First of all, there's a new AI coach system prompt. And because of certain new techniques that I've learned, as well as, hi, my cat. Here's my cat. Anyway, there's a certain few new techniques that I've learned, which I incorporated into the prompt behind Neo. And I've also, because Anthropic, every single time they create an update, Claude just feels dumber and dumber. So we are kind of considering to just switch our backend API to Gemini, but for now it's still running on Claude. But at the same time, because of that, because we're still running on Claude, I needed to tighten up the prompt even more, because the experience of the AI coach fell short a bit in recent times as Claude updated. But as a consequence of me putting in the effort to improve the user experience of the AI coach in Neo, I think the current experience of it is actually even better than before. So I want to start off with that and give you the demonstration of this in action. So over here we have, this is how we're going to start, okay? So over here we have this conversation between Neo and basically a role play. So I basically asked ChatGPT I told ChatGPT, okay, I want your help to help test out an AI. You'll be a role play partner. I send you the message. You respond in turn by answering. Play the role of someone facing a tough challenge or situation. Respond as a human, meaning no verbose output. Human is lazy to type. Okay, so ChatGPT says okay, paste a message and a replying character. So over here it says, hello, what brings you here today? And ChatGPT says, oh yeah, I'm kind of stuck. I'm about to get put on a performance plan at work, which is bad news, and I don't know what to do next. So AI coach says, that sounds tough. What would you most want to have happen in this situation? So now, if you were to ask this if you were to say this in a typical AI, it's going to come up with like an essay, right? So in a typical AI coach fashion, it reflected, and then after that, it gave a very good question. And the AI says, I want to not get fired, basically. And if I can't fix it there, I want a backup plan so that I'm not scrambling. AI coach says, got it. You want to keep your job if possible, and a solid backup plan if not. What's happening with the performance plan? Have they told you what needs to change? So ChatGPT says, yeah, they said I'm missing deadlines and my updates are unclear. But it's messy because the priorities keep changing and I'm juggling like three things at once. So basically a typical overworked employee who's on the surface level may be a performance issue, but deep down there may be something else. And the AI coach says, sounds like you're dealing with shifting priorities while trying to hit deadlines and communicate clearly. That's a lot to manage. Which part feels most urgent to tackle first, the deadline issue or the communication piece? Chat says, deadlines, if I keep missing those, nothing else matters. Right, deadlines are the foundation. If those don't work, everything else falls apart. When you look at the deadlines you've been missing, what's making them hard to hit? Is it the shifting priorities throwing you off your planning or something else? Chat says, mostly shifting priorities. I'll be halfway through something and then it turns into drop that, do this now, which is very typical employer-employee situation. And I'm back at pushing back, so I just say yes and then everything piles up. Coach says, so you're caught between shifting priorities and not pushing back. It creates a perfect storm for missed deadlines. What happens when you try to push back? Have you tested it or does it feel too risky to try? By the way, as you can see over here, the AI coach is doing a fine job at making the client, which is in this case, the role play is feel heard, feel understood, feel seen. So it's not cornering him, not challenging him. And that's good because that allows better coachability. So chat says, I barely tested. It feels risky because I don't want to look difficult, especially now. I'll hint like I'm a bit slam, but they'll just say do your best and move on. So coach says, that makes sense. Hinting doesn't really work when people are busy. They hear I'm slam and think everyone's slam. What would happen if you try something more direct? Like I can do X or Y by Friday, but not both. Which should I prioritize? So at this point, the AI coach is now shifting into solution mode, but it doesn't do that by being very direct about it. It do that by using applying certain coaching techniques. It's like, hey, what would happen? So it's like might. It's like a suggestion. And I gotta say, like, you can see for yourself, it's being very tactful over here. So chat says honestly they probably pick one, but I'm scared to be like, why can't you do both? Then I'll look incompetent. So a coach says that fear makes sense, but think about it. If you can't do both well, you're already looking incompetent when you miss deadlines. What's first, asking which one to prioritize or delivering both late? So chat says delivering both late. Yeah, I hate that that's true, but it is. Coach says, so you see the pattern. Asking which to prioritize puts you in control instead of being reactive. So now the AI coach is now teaching, but at the same time also suggesting, want to try that approach with this next shifting priority situation. In such a short message, it is able to help the client, which is the chat GPT right now, to regain control of the situation. So now chat says, yeah, I can try. I just need the exact wording so I don't freeze or soften it. And so now AI coach has now become more proactive with the solution. Exactly. Here's what you can say. I can deliver X by Friday or Y by Friday, but not both at the quality you need. Which should I prioritize? The key parts, specific timeline, a quality standard, and direct choice. No wiggle room for them to say just do both. You see, so here the AI coach is giving a suggestion, but at the same time, like being very considerate to break it down so that chat understands it. Chat says, okay, that's usable. If they still push do both, what do I say without sounding like I'm refusing? I understand you prefer both. Given the timeline and quality standards, I can do X well by Friday or Y well by Friday. Which would serve the business better right now? You're refusing, you're clarifying reality and asking them to make the business decision. Chat says, all right, I can do that in a chat. In the meeting, I might choke, but chat, I can copy paste. Also, I need a way to stop getting interrupted mid-task. That's half the problem. So over here, one situation has resolved, but chat GPT is introducing a new problem, which is a very typical human thing. Like one problem is resolved, another problem comes up. Coach says, good. Chat gives you control of the exact words. For interruptions, what's happening? Are people walking up to your desk or is it messages and calls pulling you away? Chat says, mostly messages, Slack pings all day, plus random quick call and people tagging me in threads. I'll be in the middle of something, and then lose 30 to 60 minutes just context switching. Coach says that's a huge time drain. 30 to 60 minutes of context switching can kill your whole day. So what would happen if you turn off Slack notification for chunks of time while you're working on priority tasks? Chat says, I've thought about it, but I worry someone will say I'm unresponsive. Typical boundary problem, right? Also, there's always that one urgent thing that pops up. So coach says most urgent things aren't actually urgent. They just feel that way because somebody else is pressing. So with that one line, the client suddenly feels a lot more relief, right? And coach says, what if you set specific times to check Slack like every 2 hours and let people know when you'll be available for non-urgent items? Chat says, that sounds nice, but I don't think people will respect it unless my manager backs it. And I'm not sure I can ask for that right now without it sounding like an excuse. Chat says, you're right. Without manager backing, it could look like you're making excuses. What if you started making smaller, like turning off notifications or just one focus hour at a time, then checking everything? That way you're still unresponsive. You still feel responsive, but getting some productive work time. Okay, so over here we got a little bit of a UI bug over here. This one is supposed to be above here. For some reason, it was working earlier, but now when I turn it back on, it just flipped down at the bottom. But at least the AI coach conversation is nice, okay? So minor UI issues. Anyway, that's why we're still in beta. Anyway, it says, yeah, I feel safer, like I'll be heads down to the tree, then I'll reply. Something like that. AI coach says, exactly, that's clear and gives people a heads up without asking permission. You can even put in your status, focus at work to 3 p.m., we'll catch up later, then just do it. Chat says, okay, if somebody pings urgent during the hour, do I break it or wait? That's where I always cave. Coach says, here's the key question. Can you tell the difference between actually urgent and just feels urgent? Most urgent pings are someone else's poor planning or anxiety. Real urgent means something breaks and if you don't act in the next hour. Chat says, yeah, I usually treat them all like the building is on fire. So now the chat is having a realization. Real urgent is like production down or client escalation. Most of it is, can you look at this quick? Coach says, right, so you already know the difference. Can you look at this quick isn't urgent. What if you just replied to those with, I'll check this after 3 p.m. and kept working? Now the chat is realizing, okay, something is shifting. I can do that. I'll feel guilty, but it's better than blowing up my whole day. Also, I need to show progress daily so they stop saying my updates are unclear. Coach says, good, you're building awareness of real urgency versus anxiety urgency. For daily updates, what format are you using now and what makes them unclear to your manager? So chat says, I post like a paragraph in Slack, kind of rambly. They want something more concrete. What I did, what I'm doing, what's blocked, I just over-explain. Exactly, over-explain kills clarity. They want facts, not your thought process. What if you use 3 lines? Completed X, working on Y, by Z, and kept each one to 1 sentence. Chat says, yeah, that would force me to be short. I can do that daily. End of day, if nothing is blocked, I just say block none or just omit? So now chat is like being very interacting with the AI coach. Say block none, it shows you're thinking about blockers proactively. That's what they want to see. That's what they want to see. Okay, so basically force priorities into a choice, protect an hour, and do tight updates. That's actually doable. Do I just need to not chicken out when they push back? Exactly, you've got a clear plan that addresses the core issues. The key is to following through when they do push back. Remember, you're not chickening out. You're being professional about capacity and priorities. Want to practice what you say when somebody pushes just do both in your priority questions? Yeah, they say, can't you just squeeze both in? It shouldn't take that long. I understand so now the AI coach is giving a script. I understand you want both done well based on time and resources available. I can deliver X by Friday or Y by Friday at the quality standard you expect, which would serve the business better right now. And then the AI coach clarifies, stay counterfactual. You're not arguing, you're clarifying reality. Okay, if they say figure it out, then what? That's a scary one. So now chat is coming up with a new problem. Then the AI coach immediately just coolly and calmly answer, I understand you want me to figure it out. Here's what I can realistically deliver. X by Friday or Y by Friday, both done well. I need you to choose which one serves the business better right now. Don't take ownership of their unrealistic expectations. Make them own the decision. Yeah, makes sense. I guess the real issue is I've been trying to absorb all the chaos myself. If I keep doing that, I'm done anyway. Coach says, exactly, you've been absorbing chaos that isn't yours to absorb. When you try to manage everyone else's poor planning and shifting priorities, you become the problem instead of solving it. Sounds like you're ready to stop being the shock absorber for their dysfunction. I like that. Chad says, yeah. Also, I should probably document this stuff, like if priorities change and that's why something slipped, not as ammo, just so I'm not blamed for everything. So you see, the user is learning something new, is learning through experiencing life and through interacting with the AI coach about it. AI coach says, smart. Documentation isn't about building a case against anyone. It's about having facts when memories get fuzzy. Keep it simple. Date, what changed, impact on timeline, just the facts. Good. Okay, I can use actually over here. Okay, I can do a little log in the doc. This is the first time I feel like I have something concrete to do tomorrow. Good. You've got a concrete plan and you can see the path forward. The feeling of having something specific to do tomorrow, that's what clarity looks like. You're not stuck anymore. Tomorrow, I'll set a 2 to 3 p.m. focus block time, do the 3-line update EOD, and if something new comes in, I'll ask for X or Y. If I actually do that, I might be okay. That's exactly right. You've got 3 concrete actions you can take tomorrow. The key is starting with 1 and building momentum. Even if you only do the focus block tomorrow, that's progress. So that's the end of the conversation. I know there's some UI shifting things going on over here. Like it didn't happen earlier when I was testing it. I just only see this. I'm gonna go and fix it. We are gonna go and fix it, me and my developer. But yeah, so now I did ask the AI. I know it's AI. Don't come at me in the comments, okay? I know it's AI. I said roleplay ended. How did you feel about conversation? It said I felt calmer by the end. At the start, it was just I'm screwed, and then it turned into a short list of things I can actually do. Force a priority choice, protect an hour, tighten updates, and keep a simple log. That made it feel like less like chaos and more like a plan. Which, by the way, all of us who use Neo and who use the AI coach, we feel the same thing. By the end of the whole session, we found the clarity that we need. We found the resolution. Sometimes very painful decisions, sometimes very painful realizations, but we found the resolution or the solution. So that's how it's supposed to be. And this experience actually is it's actually better than even the first version one. So I'm very happy with the new custom instruction on the back end, and also the new techniques that I've been using, context stuffing and a certain kind of RAG. So that is basically the new AI coach experience. Now, for those of you who are new at this, there's actually other functions as well. Now, if you want to turn off the new to Neo, if you want to turn off the AI coaching mode, you just click on this orange button right here. You will turn it off. Click on it, it will turn on. If you click on show tools, you will see log, inherit, and remember. So basically what happens is that when you click on log, right, it's going to basically summarize the entire thing into something like looks like this. So it's going to look something like this. and he's gonna give the time and date. So the reason why we want to do this, right, is because we want the AI to have chronological awareness, conversation by conversation, what is happening. So over here, this is the project knowledge, and over here you have the logs. Right now, there's one log, but it's actually supposed to be like a lot of logs. It is not perfect. There are bugs, but that is basically the idea behind it. I want to be able to log in each interaction, each encounter, if I choose to. I don't want the AI to do it automatically for me, because that's what ChatGPT is trying to do. That's what Claude is trying to do, and I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake because what if I'm just playing around, fooling around, and then ChatGPT or Claude would accidentally log something which is, it will, because it remembers conversations across, remembers stuff across conversations, it will remember the wrong thing, which I don't want. So I want more full control. So that's how we do it with Neo. But right now, the current state of Neo, this is a video about the current state of Neo. Log button, I just found out like 15 minutes ago, like it stopped working for some reason. I think it's because we did certain updates over here. As an example, over here, you can now see in the previous Neo version, you see like there's no regenerate response. There is no copy response, right? Over here, there's also no regenerate response and stuff like that. There's no editing. Right now, we have that function. But with the incorporation of this, something else broke. So log broke. And memory also broke. I'm going to talk more about that. But for now, log isn't working. But when it is working, all you got to do is just press on log, and okay. Oh, it looks like it's working. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna this will create a reflection log of a conversation. The AI will analyze 56 new messages and generate insights about discussion, breakthrough, and key learning. So if I click on log, but just now when I tried, it wasn't working though. So yeah, I'm gonna go and fix that. Anyway. Click on that again, and it's generating chat reflection. Okay. Okay, no, it's not working. I apologize for that. Let me see. Let me refresh that. Oh, it is working. Okay, cool. But it doesn't give me a pop-up for some reason. All right, so this is the context of the conversation. So sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. That's why we are in beta, guys. So yeah, please don't mind me. Anyway, so that is kind of like something cool over here. Now, inherit means that when you click on the inherit button, because sometimes when you have this conversation, it becomes a very long conversation. When it becomes a very long conversation, your credits run out very fast. So maybe instead of like, continue the conversation and waste the credit, maybe you want to just start a new conversation. But the problem with starting a new conversation is that it forgets all the previous context, right? But when you click on inherit, it's going to basically create a summary of this entire thing. And after you create a summary of this entire thing, it's going to start over here. And it just basically picked where it left off. Continue your previous conversation. Right, you've been absorbing chaos that isn't yours to absorb, and you try to manage blah, 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 and so on and so forth. What's the first one you want to set? So it doesn't lose the context because of this. So those of you who are using Claude like me, like many times we have to manually summarize and start a new conversation, and Claude keeps losing context, right? So with Neo, it will not happen. So that is basically what inherit does. On memory, over here, there's a remember button. Remember is actually linked to memory. So inside Neo, right, there is actually a memory tab. Inside memories, it is also not working at the moment because we recently revamped it a little bit. So previously, the way it worked, or the basic idea of it, is that when I click on this drop down, there are like cards inside here, and when I click on it, right, I'm able to add in details about myself. So there's like personal info and stuff like that. When I click new memory, there's like goals, professional, relationship, philosophy, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So what I wanted to do is I feel very inspired by what Claude recently did, which is like there is actually a memory over here now, and the AI will automatically update by the end of every day. I don't want to update this I don't want the AI to automatically do it for me. Not as of this moment, I don't want it. That's why I wasn't doing it. But at the same time, I like, rather than having many different cards, which is the way Manas do it, the way ChatGPT do it, Anthropic decided to consolidate everything into just like one thing over here. And that makes it actually easier to edit, which is what I like. And also cleaner UI as well. So I was trying to do that. But now when I start to add messages, like trying to teach, basically this interface here, you are able to send messages, talk to it, the AI, and the AI will remember stuff for you. Right now, it is because we migrated from the previous like card version to now consolidated version. Suddenly, it stopped working. So yeah, so basically that is memory, and when it starts working again, you will be able to go into this page here and just type whatever message that you want Neo to remember about you. So if you want to, like as an example, I have two cats, one named Pancake, one named Pudding. I can just type, I have two cats, one named Pancake, another named Pudding, and I can hit on enter, and it will suggest based on my message whatever it is that I want to remember. I can also do it manually as well. Like over here, I can type it in. But sometimes when I'm having a conversation over here in the chat, right, I want to be able to not have to do that. So I want to like type stuff in, and then it will just. And when I click on this remember button, when I click on save, I have two cats as an example, Pancake and Pudding. When I hit on enter, it will automatically create a card for me that gets remembered in the memory. So that's basically a core functionality that has a problem right now, but I promise you we are going to work hard to fix it as soon as possible. So that is basically the four main features: the new AI coach experience, which is already working perfectly, except for some UI problems. Log this function, which is problematic. Inherit is actually working well, so that's not an issue. Remember is not working right now. So in addition of that, since the last update, I've also added this thing over here. And the reason why is because I wanted I don't want to have to go into like this tab every time I want AI to remember something. I want to be able to like this, open this, and there's a panel that shoots out. Open this, and I can just chat and tell it to remember stuff about me on fly. I want it to be able to do that. And also, instead of having to navigate to a new window to see what is in the knowledge base, because right now we have all these in the project knowledge base, I want to be able to just from the conversation. Where am I doing? This is okay. From the conversation, I want it to be able to like pull out the knowledge base. So these are all the files in the knowledge base. Log. These are all the files in log, and so on. You see. So that's basically something new that we've added in. We've also added in timestamp. So the reason why I want to add a timestamp is because in the next few steps, I wanted the AI to be able to have chronological awareness. As an example, when you mention a deadline or a time frame, the AI coach will tell you as a state in your own time zone. So like, okay, if you tell the AI, okay, I have 4 days, and then AI will say, okay, today is 26th of December. It looks like you got to finish it by the 30th. So the AI has that chronological awareness. And when the user returns after a gap, like if let's say you leave a conversation hanging, so like right now, right, you've been absorbing chaos that isn't yours to absorb. And then what's the first boundary you want to test out? And let's say you as a user ignores the AI and you just go and like get lost somewhere, don't do anything, never interacted with the AI for like one whole week. Instead of the AI assuming that it is currently still on the 26th, it's going to say, hey, I noticed that it's been 7 days since we last spoke. I noticed that you didn't answer my question back then. How is this, how has your project been? Like, is it resolved? Like, what is the status? So the AI can answer, that can actually say stuff like that to make it more personalized to the experience. And also, like, I wanted it to be when you first open with the AI talks to you for the first time, is going to have that, hey, good evening, hey, good morning, good afternoon, because I have that chronological awareness. I think that this is a very important feature to enable a better experience working with the AI coach, so that you feel like you're actually working with a human, so that's basically what is going on. I'm going to be, my most immediate action is I'm going to be working on fixing the memory, fixing the log, fixing the UI problems here and there, and fixing the chronological awareness. So because the old developer is no longer working with me, unfortunately, and he's just being very unresponsive. So I'm working with a new developer. The new developer have to take time to understand like this entire architecture that the old developer have basically left behind. So we're gonna need some time to adapt, but hopefully I can hire more. I think I can hire more people. It's just that we need to be careful so that a lot of the stuff that the vision that I wanted is implemented properly. Right now, there's still a lot of UI tweaks that is necessary to be done. As an example, like over here, I'm not very happy with how this is pretty narrow, but this is like pretty large. Okay, so there's like a number of these small little things here and there, which I think, even though it's small, I personally believe it will impact a lot of the user experience. So I'm very, very careful with that. I want to fix all, but before I do the small stuff, I'm going to work on the big stuff, make sure that the core functionalities are delivered and you guys get what you paid for. Okay, so that is basically the end of the update. In the next, actually, no, I want to share something a little bit interesting. This is actually, once I fix all these bugs and all the functionalities are there, I'm going to start working on phase 2. Once I fix all the main functionalities, that's the end of phase 1. Phase 2 is basically, you guys know it, I have all these CTPs that I've created, where the AI has trained knowledge on how to write good sales copy, good content, all of these things. Phase 2 is all about making a Neo's version of custom GPT that you can subscribe to on a very small monthly fee, but it's able to help you produce high quality marketing assets that you can use to make money. And also for us, other things as well, like the envisioning process, which has changed a lot of people's lives. So that's basically what I want to do for phase 2. Phase 3 is I want to be able to grant Neo users the ability to create their own versions of Neo. So they are able to tweak on the system prompt. They are able to tweak on the CTPs or the construct protocols that I'm going to be creating. You guys will be able to train it on your brain and stuff like that. So that is be phase 3. Right now we are like phase 0.8. Yeah, so if you guys know any contact and if you guys know people who may be able to help me with my project, feel free to introduce them to me. I am I'm committed to getting this up and running at the very least phase 2 by Q2 next 2026. Okay, that's all for the major update. I'll see you guys when I see you guys next time.